Hello everyone, good morning, happy Monday. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Esmeralda Zamora and you're watching KXAN Live First Warning Weather with our special meteorologist, our special guest today, and that is Mr. Rich Segal. Thanks so much for joining us today, Rich. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Well, thank you.
Let's start off. What do you have for us today?
Well, my main goal here on Monday mornings is to answer viewer emails. And that's what we're going to do Mondays at 9:30, and we'll tell you how you can submit one to us. Let's get right into it. We got an email late last week from a viewer who wanted to know, why do we give names to hurricanes? And there are several reasons. Number one, it's excellent for record keeping. We know that when we have accurate records on tropical storms, it makes it easier for research. Names are easier to remember. Prior to 1950, did you hear about the tornado, or rather the hurricane of 1938 or the hurricane of 1954? Well, where was it? Just about the only hurricane that everybody knows about before names were given was the hurricane that hit Galveston in 1900. So in 1953, the National Hurricane Center decided that they needed a better way of keeping records and to create less confusion when talking about tropical storms and hurricanes. So they decided to give names to the hurricanes, or the tropical storms and the hurricanes. And in 1953, the names were female names. And ultimately, in time, that got a few people upset, wanted to know why they couldn't do male names. So in 1978, male names were added to the group for storms in the Pacific. And then in 1979, the National Hurricane Center added male names to the storms in the Atlantic, Caribbean, and Gulf, otherwise known as the Atlantic Basin. So this is why names are given to hurricanes. Again, I think the big thing is that it creates less confusion. And this morning, for example, Kristen and I were talking during our weather chat on CW Austin Morning about the hurricane that just hit the Florida coast today. Yes. Hurricane Debbie followed a similar pattern to Hurricane Idalia that hit about that same area last year. So this was an easier frame of reference. Do you remember that hurricane that hit around this time last year? Well, that's all you would know about it. But this one, Debbie making landfall at Steinhatchee, Florida, about 6:45 to 7 o'clock this morning, following a similar path to Idalia. So it's just for excellent record keeping and a tremendous frame of reference.
Wow. And I know that we kind of keep a pattern when we pick names, right? Is it a male name and then a female name?
Yes.
And a male name?
Male name, female name, and then the next year it'll be female name, male name. The names are not the same in the Pacific. The Pacific gets its own set of names. The names rotate every 5 years, but there are some names that will never be used again because of what they did. For example, everybody who was around then will remember Hurricane Katrina in Louisiana that hit just about New Orleans and Buras, Louisiana in 2005. Well, Katrina will never be used again. The name has been retired. Harvey, the hurricane that hit at San Jose Island and Rockport in 2017, Harvey's name was retired. And incredibly enough, you wouldn't think this, but the letter of the alphabet with the most retired names is I.
Oh, wow.
You wouldn't think that, but I has had more names retired, and again, they rotate every 5 years. So your time may be coming, because we haven't had an Esmeralda yet.
I can't wait until we get one. That would be cool. So I know we have a second question. What was that second question?
Okay, where do you get your idea for weather blogs? I had a viewer write in and ask about that. Sometimes these just fall into our laps. For example, on Friday, Kristen and our new meteorologist, Tommy, were talking about climatology, tropical weather in August. So I added to that. I wrote a blog over the weekend that's right now on our website, and you see where it says Atlantic Basin tends to get busy in August. That's the blog that I wrote. Tropical Tracker, Tropical Storm Debbie strengthens near Florida. That's a blog that was started by meteorologist Freddie Vela. And then on and on it goes. And this particular page is available on our website, kxan.com, under the Weather and Traffic tab. but sometimes they just fall into our laps. This was an easy blog for me to write. Oftentimes we'll ask, each of the meteorologists responsible for a blog will be asking, well, what can I write about? What's topical? What's timely? What can I do? A lot of the time our blogs are, okay, here's what's going to happen in the upcoming month. We give you the forecast for the upcoming month using statistical information and updates from the National Weather Service. And sometimes the blogs can take a less serious approach. I did a blog recently about watermelon because watermelon is an excellent source of hydration, especially necessary during the summer months. And so I wrote a blog about that, and we had a little fun with it, talked about the effects that watermelon has on the body. Well, okay, is there high sugar? How much hydration are you getting through one slice of watermelon? So we have sometimes we'll do something in our own special area. Sometimes I'll do one on trees and how the weather affects them. Chief Meteorologist Nick Bannon will do blogs on El Nino and La Nina. That is his specialty. Kristen does blogs on the birding forecast for the forthcoming month. She's been doing that for months. And sometimes we'll get viewer ideas. Sometimes we'll get an idea from a viewer that says, okay, hey, have you considered writing about this? Or have you considered doing a weather chat about that? And it's nice when the viewers interact with us about that. But, usually they'll just fall right into your lap.
Interesting. And so we need to know that they're not always serious weather blogs. There's always some fun ones in there, right?
Yes.
Perfect. Well, let's move on to our viewer photos. I got these captures over the weekend from our UGC shared pictures. Here, our first one looks like it's from Lime Creek Road near Sandy Creek Park, and it's courtesy of Gabriella Johnson. And then that second one is from Lee County, courtesy of Wendy Kirby, and she wrote a little quote that said, "Storm cell cloud with her doggy Aspen in it."
Yeah, I think I saw this one yesterday. These two came in yesterday, and I think that the one on the right from Lee County looks like a spaceship.
Yeah, it kind of looks like a UFO.
I think she might have said that. Now, that leads to the third question. I had a friend ask me this, and so this was not one that was emailed to us. I want to submit a picture or a video showing the weather. How can I do it? It's very simple. You take your picture, and when you take pictures during the storms, please make sure that you are being careful. You don't want to, if it starts to hail, wait until the storm is done. Go out and take pictures of all the hail you want, but please be safe when you do this. Same thing with a video, and then you will email that to us to report it, reportit@kxan.com. And I have to tell you, I say this on the air frequently, our viewers are the very best. They always come through. There are several who will send a picture of their rain gauge, and that gives us ground truth that there were rains in the area. Hail, the same thing. I'll tell you, we weren't expecting any hail yesterday, but we sure did get some.
Yeah, that little pebble size, but it was there.
It certainly was. And then I also when I was at home yesterday, heard on our weather group chat from meteorologist Tommy House that there certainly was hail showing up on the radar. So that's how you do it. Report it at kxan.com.
And you can find that on the corner of your screen. It says up there right next to viewer weather captures, report it at kxan.com. Now, I do want to remind everyone that Rich and I are here every single Monday at 9:30, around 9:30, and he does like to receive a lot of questions so that we can answer them right here for you. If you also want to send in those questions, like he mentioned, you can send them in to report it at kxan.com. And then remember that it's every Monday that he is answering these questions.
There is one more I want to touch on.
Ooh,
it wasn't a question. It was a comment from a very nice lady. Right after the Olympics started, she reminded us that Paris is the city of light, not the city of lights. And I have been, several of us here in the building didn't know that, but Paris is referred to as the city of light, no S.
And for those viewers who don't know why it's referred to that,
can you tell me?
I don't know either.
Oh, okay.
I was asking you. Maybe they get a lot of light.
Wait a minute. Did I write something down on this? She provided links. So you know what? Next week I'll have an answer.
Okay, there's a
Or maybe
teaser
I'll
for
have an
you.
answer when I come back and do the weather later on this morning.
At noon. He'll be back at noon with me for our noon headlines, and hopefully we can get that question answered for me, him, and the viewers out there, right?
Right.
Well, thanks so much for joining us, Rich. It was a pleasure to have you once again.
Thank you. Glad to be
Excited
here.
to keep doing this every Monday, and excited to hear more questions from our viewers, right?
Right.
Yes. Well, thank you so much again. And thank you to everybody for joining us here on First Warning Weather on Mondays. It was a pleasure to have you all here. Hope you guys have a great rest of your Monday. I'm Esmeralda Zamora once again, and this was KXAN Live.